Alright, so I'm going to get out of my comfort zone a little bit here and take a look at a 1/6 scale figure. This is the Sideshow Collectibles Star Wars The Clone Wars animated series version of Anakin Skywalker. So this of course caught my attention like it did most people, since it is the first time we're getting a 1/6 scale version of a animated series Clone Wars Anakin. A lot of people were excited for this, including myself. And then once the final product released and we saw some of the photos that came out, a lot of people were very disappointed, including myself too. So I did not cancel my pre-order. I figured I wait and see what I think of it in person, because lighting does play a big part in photos. So maybe it was bad lighting or whatnot. So that's what we're going to try to figure out here. So here's the front of the box. I'm not a big fan of the art style they went with the front of the box. Maybe I'm spoiled with Hot Toys that they always have a very nice image of the figure on the very front of the box. But this is okay. They just have an animated image of Anakin there, and the back is just kind of like, I don't know. I just thought it would be better. Now the back side of the box actually looks a lot better. This is what the front should have looked like, to be honest, and I know you can't really see it because the box is very tall, but there it is. This is what I was expecting to be the front of the box, but instead this is the back of the box. Alright, so here we have Anakin, and he's standing up at right about 12 inches exactly. He comes packed in with his robe, his Jedi robe, and it's actually pretty thick and has some weight to it. It's made of this suede material, and it doesn't feel cheap, so that's good. Sleeves are really long to the point where you can't even see his hands or his arms. I don't know how accurate that is, but I know it. I know they're pretty long, so I think that's okay. Now, as for the hood, it's actually a pretty nice material. Doesn't feel too cheap. It does not have a bendy wire. The only portion of his outfit that has a bendy wire is his inside, garments, not his outer coat. So I don't know. I don't know why they went that route, because if you try to apply the hood, it's gonna take some patience because it's not bendy wire. I think a bendy wire would have really helped here. You could really get it posed up into a Jedi-like pose, but you see there it doesn't really want to work with you, because there's no bendy wire. So overall, the coat's okay, or the robe, I should say. It is okay. It's actually better than what I was expecting, so that's good. As for the head sculpt, you can see right here, I think it looks great. I think those photos were just shot in bad lighting, and it really made the figure look cheap and very undetailed. But what I'm seeing here is actually really nice. I like the head sculpt, and that's probably the most important part of the figure, because if the portrait is trash, then the whole figure might as well be trash. So at least they really did a good job, at least in my opinion, in sculpting the head sculpt. So let's go ahead and take this robe off and see what he looks like without it. And here we can take a look at him without the robe here. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. Now, it's definitely not Hot Toys quality. I do own some Hot Toy figures, and I can tell you right now that this feels like a third-party release. Take that with, how you will. But compared to Hot Toys, it does not compare in terms of how it feels in my hand, in terms of the soft goods and the joints. And that's the next thing I'm going to speak about here is it does have loose joints, which was a lot of people's concerns, because I guess Sideshow has had a history of having loose joints and using very poorly designed body molds, and it is present here. Now, it's not the worst looseness in the world, but it's still enough to really bother you, especially if you're spending $250 on this figure. And that's what this figure retails for, is $250, and it is incredibly overpriced, because that is what we normally pay for a Hot Toy, not a Sideshow. I think this should have been priced no more than $199, no more than $200. I think it should have been around $180 downwards to $150, to be honest with you. I think they really took advantage of the fans here, because knowing that it is the first time we are getting the animated series designed in 1/6, uh, they knew people wanted it, just like me. I bought it, so they knew exactly what they had here, and they could easily charge more, and that's exactly what they did. I'm just here to say that it's not worth $250. If you could somehow hold out and hopefully get a better deal, I don't know if that's possible, but I would try to do that. So first and foremost, the ankles are super loose, and this is a problem because this is what supports the figure. This is what makes the figure stand up. And before I even started this, video, I was trying to stand him up just to have the measuring tape section of the video, and he was falling forward. He kept doing this right here, so that is not good. And these ankles are only on ball joints. It's not even a hinge or anything, and it's not a tight ball joint either. Now the head sculpt is pretty tight. I'm pretty content with that. No issues here. It's a ball joint and it is super tight actually. So actually really happy about that. You can see that he looks up about that high and he looks down that low. You can get some nice head tilting here. Always a fan of that. Left and right, no problem there. So good movement on the head. The neck is not a separate articulated neck. It's literally stationary. It's literally stuck on there. It doesn't move at all. Arms will go all the way up. That's about as far as it goes, without it ripping your soft goods there. As for the tightness of that, it's okay. It's not super tight, but it's not super loose. There's a bicep swivel in there. They do stretch out pretty far up. And it seems like there is a butterfly joint in there because I can move the arm. I can move it forward and back. So that's there. And then we do get double jointed elbows, although that forearm gauntlet piece here is gonna stop it from moving any further, but it does bend more than a 90-degree angle. Wrists are on a ball jointed swivel, and the wrists are really loose too. At least the swivel portion of it, you can see sorta how easy that is to swivel. The hinge is okay, and then also worth noting that every hand he comes with its own hinge too, and we'll get to that in a second. The torso has a diaphragm joint, so you can swivel him. He does have a waist swivel too, so you can bend forward, he can bend back, he can swivel, he can tilt. Legs will kick forward. Legs aren't as tight as I hoped for, but they do hold the weight. They do hold the pose forward. They go back down. They go far out, about this far until it gets a little risky. You might rip his pants there, so I don't want to go any further. There is a thigh swivel. We do have double jointed knees here, although the scrunching of the clothing is going to jam in there and not allow it to bend any further. So we do get at least a 90-degree bend. I can see some soft goods trying to poke out of the boot right there too. And then of course the ankle I showed you, it's a ball joint. You do get the hinge, you get the rocker and the swivel there. And again, these are bendy wires here on the front side and on the back side. Alright, of course he does come with his lightsaber, which is nice. Blade does not detach. You can see the blade there, but we do get a separate hilt here in case you want to holster his hilt. You can see the little ring there, and you can just plug it in, and then there you go. You can just have his lightsaber holstered there on his side. That looks good. I got no issues there. Alright, so you see he comes packed in with the pair of fists, and then we get a pair of open hands. They're pretty much calm open hands, but get a load of this here. Look how loose this right hand is. Again, they all come with their own separate hinges or separate ball pegs. So each one is different. The fist wasn't this loose, and this one is more loose. So I don't get what's going on here. If it's the same sculpt, but this one's super loose, and then the left hand is not so super loose. This one's okay. So I don't know, man, but this is unacceptable for a $250 figure. No bueno. This is not cool. All right, and then we get these force wielding hands here. They're both identical poses here, except of course, one's for the right, one's for the left. Level of looseness about the same. And then it seems like the right hand is just more loose than the left on every one of these hands. Right, and last but not least, we have the lightsaber grabbing hands, and actually this one is the tightest one of them all. So this is the right hand, it's perfect. Left hand, it's perfect. So no issues with these hands. So it's the specific ball joint pegs, maybe you could separate it and use the one that's the tightest one out of them all, in case, you only want to use a specific hand and it's not tight enough for you. But there's that. Let's go ahead and get the lightsaber in his hand here. Alright, so there you go. He can grab his lightsaber just fine with both hands, of course, and it's a nice tight fit, so no issues there. Here's another example of looseness on the figure. Right leg just doesn't want to stick out. And then we get the Ahsoka Tano hologram here that you can put in his hand. So that's the final accessory. If you're not counting the base and stand, which he does come with a base and stand, Pretty basic stuff here. They didn't even put a nameplate on there or anything. We do get Star Wars on the bottom of it, but that's about it. Other than that, I mean, this is as cheap as can be. Here is the actual stand, the crotch grabber. So you might have to use this because you might have issues with him standing, as I mentioned earlier. So at least with the robe, you can probably cover up the entire stand there, but I just wish this was a bit more presentable here, you know. Alright, so here's a quick up-close look at the face sculpt, just so you guys can pick up some of the details there. The paint job, the sculpt is done well, in my opinion. The eyes came out very, very well. The hair sculpt, no gripes here. You can see the paint. You know, could have added some detail in there, but it is the animated version, so I think it's fine. You can see some detail here on the arm, on the forearm here. I like that they added those dry brush effect here, so it makes it look like it's worn, like he's been in battle. Same goes for the other forearm here. And then down to the shin guards, you can see the line work here is painted too. Just that extra detail there just really pops and makes it look better. You can even see it on the edges of the boot or the shoe. Sharp edges there. That really gives off the animated look for sure. So I like that. I dig it. You can see the other side of the gauntlet there. So good detail. This is held on by Velcro. By the way, you can take that off. Alright, so I did want to get this comparison going. This is the Hot Toy Clone Wars version of Anakin Skywalker on the right side. And you can just see the proportion difference, the size difference. Hot Toy scaling a lot taller, maybe by a whole inch there. And of course, Hot Toys uses the live action look for the head sculpts, even if it's from a animated series design. And that's what they did here, is they gave us the Hayden Christensen head sculpt on a Clone Wars body design. But just holding this figure, I mean, the quality is so much better than the Sideshow. It's just insane after picking up this figure how much nicer, how much more tighter the joints are. Oh my goodness, I just can't believe the difference. But there's your side by side in case you wanted to see those two together. Also, I just looked it up. This figure is actually $255 plus shipping and tax, while this figure is $260 plus shipping and tax. So $5 difference between these two Anakin Skywalkers. Major difference is the head sculpt. You don't get the animated series head sculpt on this figure. That's something Hot Toys should have just threw in there as a alternate head sculpt, I feel like. You know, maybe charge $20 more. I don't know if you want to do the two head sculpts. That way fans can pick the live action or the animated series version. But they did not do that, so we are stuck with the live action, and we are stuck with having to purchase the Sideshow version if we want the animated series design look for Anakin on our display. And then I'll go ahead and throw in Ahsoka Tano from Hot Toys as well. Doesn't really scale great because they do scale bigger than the Sideshow 1/6 figures, so it just seems like she's maybe a little too big. But again, she does stand shorter than Anakin here, so it could work. Alright, so before I close out the video, I want you guys to see what I'm doing here. I'm trying something out here. I literally put in some tack, some sticky tack, into the ball joint socket for the ankle, and it seems to have sort of tightened it up a little bit. It's a lot better than this one here. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on this one too, and see how he stands. And here's a look at that tack. It's just like a little sticky tack. Right, so it's in there, and I'm just gonna plug it right in. You don't hear a snap because obviously you got that little tack in there. And let's see if he stands better. Yep, there you go. He is standing. So let's get him focused. As you see, I mean, that is something you could do, although it's pretty pathetic that we have to do that. It really, really bothers me. It takes away from the joy of opening this figure and playing with him. It really does. And that's where I'm going to end the video, is that this is not worth $250 at all. He's finally standing now. Holy cow. He's standing because I put sticky tack in the ball joints myself. That is crazy. But yeah, not worth $250 at all. Sideshow, you guys are out of your minds. You guys should be ashamed that this is the final product. Overall, this thing, oh my god, this thing looks great. Don't get me wrong, I'm only slamming this thing because of the loose joints and the price point. Really, that's it. Other than that, this thing looks great. If this was priced to 150, 180, at least no more than 200, I'd be a lot more happier. And if the joints were a little bit tighter, that's all it takes. The sculpt is on point. The accessories are fine. I'm okay with it. The details are fine. Bendy wire soft goods are okay. They're actually better than I expected. So overall, the figure is a nice figure. I like it. It's this crap that bothers me. This is unacceptable and it's just not cool. So you guys will have to decide whether or not you think this is worth it for you or not. Because hey, are we gonna get this from Hot Toys? I don't know. We don't know. That's the main issue. That's the main dilemma, right? That's what we're all trying to figure out. Because if Hot Toys releases an animated version just like this, they're gonna blow this one out completely. This thing will be obsolete within seconds. So, for right now, this is appealing because it's the only one on the market. It's the only way we can get this design, and a lot of people are attracted to this in action figure form, including myself. So that's why I really, really wanted it. So if you guys are okay with messing around with it a little bit, you know, all it took was some sticky tack. If you're okay with that and spending 250 plus, then I guess go for it. But honestly, the only way I could recommend it at the price point it's at is if you have points to spend, a coupon or of some kind to get some sort of discount on this. Because trust me, when you get it in hand, especially if you own Hot Toy figures, you're going to be slightly disappointed at the price that you paid for this. Now, I don't have Obi-Wan unboxed yet. He's going to be the next review, so if you guys want to see these two together, Obi-Wan and Anakin, then stay tuned for my Obi-Wan Kenobi review. Alright you guys, so let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Are there any 1/6 collectors out there? I know I normally do 6-inch figures. This isn't really my thing, but I got these in today and I really wanted to talk about it and share my feelings on it, so I figured I'd do a review on them. So let me know your thoughts. Do you like this? I know this is a little weird. It's a little uncomfortable for me because I'm just not used to such the bigger scale and having to use so much review space to the point that I had to take off my dioramas. That would look silly because those dioramas are meant for 6-inch figures, but let me know your thoughts on this, if this is something you'd like to see in future reviews or not. While you're down there, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it, and also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. As always guys, take care, take it easy, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.